there, Kathleen Tebow, Serenade from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, welcoming you to my virtual studio. This time I'm in my Provincetown studio. I was lucky enough to take a week off and come up to my summer place and visit some family. So I decided to make another print here. I get a lot of inspiration here. I'm actually making a print that I've already done before. This is a block that I've used a couple of times. And the title of this print is called Swim for Life. The Swim for Life was a fundraiser that was started several decades ago, like in the 80s. And it was established for AIDS research, education, and outreach. And what people did was all these volunteers and dozens of people would get together. They gathered at Long Point, which is the very tip of Cape Cod. And they would swim from just under Long Point Light, swim all the way across the harbor to the Boat Slip Resort was the terminus. And if you've ever been to Provincetown, you would know that the Boat Slip is just like a super popular gathering spot, and they have a lot of activities there. It's in the West End where we are today. So that went on for many years. Actually, two of my sisters, Eileen and Maureen, my two older sisters, I have 7 sisters, they participated in the Swim for Life back in the 90s. And my mother, who I told you about in the other video, she is a painter, an art teacher, and a writer. In her later years, wrote her memoir. And one of her short stories in her book is called Swim for Life, and it's about my 2 sisters swimming across the harbor to raise money and awareness for AIDS outreach. So anyway, that's made it near and dear to my heart. They've had to curtail the Swim for Life the past few years because there have been a lot of seals in the harbor, which, you think, oh, that's cute. We'll ride up in our boat and take a look at them. They look like big cows in the water or whatever. They're big. They're very big. But where you see seals, you also have to think great white sharks. So unfortunately, there have been quite a few great white sightings in the last few years off of the Outer Cape, where a couple of surfers were threatened off of Wellfleet, which is 2 towns over. So, obviously it's not safe to swim across the harbor next to the seals when the sharks might be wanting to get some lunch. So now they've had to actually, they've adapted their fundraising techniques to much in the way that we've had to adapt with the foundation, our fundraiser, and that's why we're having this virtual fundraiser. And this is, I just did the sky. This is a much more complicated print than the one that I demonstrated in the previous video. So it's going to take quite a long time. You don't need to be hanging out with me for that long. But just like in the other print, I'm applying one color at a time and then burnishing the paper into the block with my silver spoon. And this print I like to do because it's very complicated. It has all different colors. There's several shades of blue for different waters and different sky, and lots of different greens, and these oranges that represent the swimmers, because they all wore these bright orange swim caps to keep them safe as they went across the harbor. So I'm going to actually pause periodically and let you do whatever you want to do while I'm continuing to work on this. And I'll just unpause to show you any progress that I'm making at the time. So I'll see you in just a little bit, hopefully with some good progress. Okay, I've made some progress. I did all the blue. I have several different shades of blue. to represent different things. I have the cerulean for the sky. It's a nice light blue. And then my ultramarine for the ocean. And then I did kind of a mixture of the two to make the little bit lighter blue for the harbor. So that took a little while. It's a little bit painstaking. So right now I think I'm gonna I'll stay on for a minute or two and do a really quick color, the crimson. I'm gonna put that on the roof of this fort out at the point. I think the name of it is Fort Useless. I could be wrong. Fort, and then I think this little fishing boat is going to be red. Like I said, one color at a time. Really, really small brush to fit in these little lines. I think one of my sailboats is going to be red. Just carry it through. This color picks up nicely. And then down here at the bottom of my block is my rendition of a very famous inn and restaurant that's been around for, I guess, hundreds of years, I don't know, called the Red Inn, obviously, so it's red. And it's a nice place to sit by the water and watch the boats and all those other nice things to do. So not too much of the red here, so I'm going to burnish my 4 red things. And I'll give you a little break. I think I actually have to mix up some more colors because I didn't mix up any colors for the sand. I'm going to have lots of different kinds of gray. Gray for the Provincetown Pilgrim Tower, which is famous. You can see it from miles away. And then of course, the whale has to be gray. I saw a whale this morning. It was pretty cool. I took a picture of it, and it was just blank water. I always miss it. Let's see. Let's see our red. Oh, the red is nice. Okay, break time. So thanks for bearing with me while I pause and restart this video a lot. And I have to walk to the other side of the room. I've made quite a bit of progress. I've got all my blues and the grays, and I finished the lighthouse, which is really cool. It's a couple of a white, a gray, and then the black top, and it's kind of tricky to do, but I love it when it comes out nicely. So now I'm going to do some green. I have lots of different greens. I have a pale green, which is just pale green, and then a very deep green that I mixed myself because I couldn't find anything in the stock that I liked enough. And then there's a Viridian, which is kind of in between the two. I really like this surface that I'm working on. It's a butcher block counter that my husband is a boat builder, and he built this for me. And it's a really nice height to work at. I'm not like stooped over or anything. And I don't like to sit down when I'm painting. I just I stay standing. Filling in some greens along the sides, and not a lot of cutting in that I have to do, so I can use my little bit bigger brush. Well, the other thing I did was I did a lot of the grays, and you know, some darker gray for the rooftops, the Heritage Museum and Travis's house, and the Red Inn, and then some lighter grays for the shadow effect on the lighthouse, and then also the Heritage Museum is pure white in real life, but I made it slightly gray so it wouldn't fade into the background of the print. Travis's house, you can see from the water, it's a tiny little yellow cottage. And Travis doesn't live there anymore, but we just always call it Travis's house. If you ever get a chance to come to Provincetown, it's a really fun place. It's full of art and diversity, and this year in COVID time, it's quite different. Of course, we're all adjusting in different ways. I'm just really fortunate. I'm really glad I was able to come. I'm only here for a little while. I usually spend a lot of my summer here when I can, but that's too much airplane travel, so I'm just here for a little bit to see my family and make a print for you guys. All right, I think that's enough of my pale green. So I try to remember to put my brush in the water so I don't forget to clean it. Pale green. I'm going to bring this print home with me to Florida because I have this really nice frame at home. It's very unusual. It's like a white beadboard frame. And this print will fit, I think, just perfectly inside it. And so I'll get it home and signed and framed, and then I'm going to send it to Luann Irvin from the foundation, who's taking care of all of the auction items while everyone's working remotely. And I'm going to show you this pale green, and then I'm going to leave you for a little while. Here we are. So it's starting to come together. It's kind of a bird's eye view of Provincetown. My next print, I think I'm going to have at a floor level or sea level. Pausing again. Okay, here I am back again. So I've mixed up all my sand colors. What I like to do for each of my prints is I always have a palette of color. And the one that I have at home in Florida for the Swim for Life, because there are so many different colors, it's actually a big palette. And I ran out of spaces here, so I went to a second palette. These are just little travel palettes. They're very inexpensive. So anyway, I just kind of keep, so I have tons of these all over my house. Well, not all over my house. Anyway, I've mixed up the sand colors, and I think we're getting close to being done. So I'm going to add the sand color. I made it a couple of different colors, one darker, one lighter. Maybe I should have gone with the other one first. But so I'm just filling in the tip of Cape Cod. And this is a big area, but a lot of cutting in to do. So I'm going to just use my little tiny brush for some of this. So when I did the cherry blossoms for mid-year assembly, I have like a little palette that I wrote on Sharpie. I wrote cherry blossoms, so I know which color palette I can grab if I want to do another print. So the Whiteline, the print making is fun, and you know, you can make many iterations of the same thing, and you can change the colors around or keep things the same. It's all up to you. What many artists do is they'll do like a limited run of each particular block. So they may only make, say, if they're doing Swim for Life, they'll make 25 copies of Swim for Life, and you know, sell the copies in a gallery, or you know, I usually just give them away to the various organizations. And then after they've done their limited run, then some people actually sell their blocks, and there's a couple here in Provincetown that they both make Whiteline prints, and that's what they do. They make 25 copies of each of their designs, and then there are people that collect the blocks, so then they sell them. Very interesting. So we're getting some of the browns in here now. I'm going to work on this a little bit more, and then when I'm just about done, I'll check in one more time. I'm trying to keep this aware of your time. Hi again. So I'm pretty much done. I'm going to get this closer to the camera for you. So you can see what I started with, I guess maybe about 3.5 hours, 4 hours ago, has really turned into something. I'm not going to unpin it quite yet because I want to make sure I haven't skipped any steps. But there you go. Look for this in the on the virtual fundraiser. Again, thank you very much for joining me in my studio. I really had a lot of fun. Take care. Bye.